Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo.
Good morning. I got something for you right away.
What you got?
You know what I just noticed?
What's that?
He was trying to play the congas, but that one arm wouldn't work. Did you
So
hear
you
me?
caught it right. It's over.
You didn't get the other part.
The other one wouldn't go.
No way, no
you
way, no
ignorant,
time.
man. You is ignorant, man.
Well, I heard it, man.
Or what I want.
Can you imagine that? That's
Part
like
of the bed.
a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest,
Right,
man.
right.
Oh,
He's
man.
working overtime.
Doc. Oh,
Man, but it's good to see that you don't have groceries.
yeah.
Thank you, Debo, for explaining why we had so many groceries back there. Because
Right.
we didn't have a stove. I'm
Right.
going, Debo bringing all kind of.
Hey, I swear I didn't know what I'm like. This guy bringing fish and chips. Oh, what's going on? Where's stuff
Crazy
come
part
from?
is
Bob
it's
was
ice
cooking
back there.
oil.
I just dawned on me that hell I just could have brought the ice.
Oh, but right.
Bob was cooking oil, but we ain't got no stove.
No
No
stove.
stove.
What is it doing?
But thank you for the history there. That was just part of the residual of Keon's love for the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that he was storing it there
Yeah.
in the refrigerator.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this: those peas help. So, what was they beans?
Lima beans.
Listen, I ain't never ate lima beans, but if you ever
I
got an
hate lima
injury,
beans. I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
really,
Yeah, hate
Yeah,
lima
I don't
beans.
eat any beans.
I'll
other
tell
than
you
string
what.
beans.
if you got an injury, get you some lima beans.
Oh, jeez.
Now you might want to complete that because people take half of it.
Right.
There's a story. I don't know how true it was. They had a DPW convention in Hawaii.
Mm.
And so anybody's going to convention conferences know that, you try to get out your sessions, especially if you're in a place like Hawaii, you want to enjoy the weather.
Yeah.
Right.
So my guy said to my guy, he said, look, man, I'm not going to be here. So take notes and I'll get what you tell me what they talked about. So they were talking about snow removal. And the dude said, he said, we had a presentation from DPW from Milwaukee. And Milwaukee, man, they moved that snow like 12 hours later. You can travel even sooner than that. They're very good at it. The dude said, well, what's the secret? He said, they just put their garbage trucks out there on the street. Dude said, wow, okay. So he gets back wherever he was. They get a snowstorm. Dog put the garbage trucks on the street. He get fired.
Yeah, he ain't put no blades on.
He
them.
put the blades. He forgot that they had put plows on the garbage
On
truck.
the garbage truck.
So you have here, and people do it, and we have conversations here.
sure
They'll
do.
call in. I remember one time we were talking about, and again, this gets back to this dynamic tension we have in our community when it comes to history, when it comes to house slaves as opposed to field slaves. So we're having this discussion, and I've gone on the record, and people have privately said to me what they would not publicly say. They want to work in the house, but they won't publicly say that because they identify with the proletariat.
Yeah.
Jermaine them out there in the field.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so somebody called in, and so Dino, I'm gonna call his name. Dino calls in and said, "Well, they put the retarded slaves in the house." So somebody have heard the conversation, and he said, "You said slaves were retarded?"
Oh my God. Yeah. That's always like having a conversation. You tell one person something, they tell the other person the same. Well, the conversation you had, but they add to it. So by the time they get back around to
Oh
you,
man,
it's a whole different
it'll turn
conversation.
into a whole
It's amazing how you guys took that one-arm bongo man and brought it back full circle to half the story.
yeah.
You know what it is?
What's that?
Talk radio.
Talk
You take what they give you, and then you go from there. You know how
There you go.
you come in prepared to do something, and then somebody will drop something,
Yeah.
and then the next thing you know, you go. And I think that's the beauty. I was talking to someone last night about I don't know. I was just talking about the program and what I do, and so she asked me. She said, "So, what kind of people?" And I said, it's get different. I'm surprised at the people who listen.
Yeah.
Last night I was at a political fundraiser, so I was kidding one of the people. I said, "So are you assigned to me?" Because I guess and all of these elected offices, they have people who listen to radio.
Wow.
Their whole job is to listen because things could be said,
Right.
and they want to make sure. So they're monitoring right now.
Nice.
And so I asked him, was that his responsibility? He kind of laughed at me, but so people listen. But I said there are two things I discovered. One, that people are frustrated.
Yeah.
But then people at the same time are aspirational. It is frustrated with everything we see going on around us. We sit out here, we can talk about, Lake WNOV and all the things and you know what we hadn't talked about this year, Debo?
What's that?
Potholes.
We skimmed it a little bit, didn't we?
No, we have not talked about potholes at all.
Oh, that's because we talked about the trash.
We talked about the trash.
Right.
So it's you talk about things and then of course, and that's okay. I guess I just live with this. They hope a fight will break out.
Where?
Here
in the studio?
No, a caller call in. There's certain matches out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like meat is a match.
Yeah. And gasoline. And gasoline.
Al is one.
Al is one. Christopher is another one. That's a match.
Yeah.
So you got
here lately. Angela's trying to,
Is your match too?
Yeah, she be trying to bristle up.
Yeah. So
Jermaine got something going.
Well, we got this thing called Radio Love.
Me and Mrs.
Yeah.
Tom.
It's the Radio Love. That we share our love over the radio. For those people out in Radio Land that need some love.
Going on.
What's that? I got love on my mind.
Oh, that's Natalie. Natalie.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
She got a song I love though. Say You Love Me.
Natalie?
Yeah, I love that song.
No.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Who made that record?
Good morning, Keith. This is Angela.
Oh, there they go.
I forgot about.
Let them do that. They didn't do it this morning.
Unforgettable. Easy is.
Well, let's do one more.
If
I didn't care for you.
Hey, but you see him throw a hand up. Keep you nut for that. That is crazy.
Red Fox.
If this could be true, we'll come
Easy is.
What's on your mind, Angela? You got your match?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, Al. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine today,
do a
baby.
pillow talk.
Get it's the love connection. It's the love connection.
And we're not doing a promo for Red Roof because you can't spend the night.
$49. The Red Roof Inn.
That giveaway we said, and you can't spend the night at the Red Roof Inn.
You ain't got to leave right away.
You ain't got to go. You got the 2 hours. You can spend the whole night.
Man, we'll leave the light on for you.
Y'all crazy.
So you can't so much cancer. Yeah, you can't spend the night.
In the night. Oh man.
Because Debo put together those packages, boy. I mean, Debo put them together, man.
We'll leave the light on for you.
Are we doing
Mr.
something for Father's Day this year?
Yeah, we'll do Father's Day.
We didn't do it. Oh, I ain't gonna say we did.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Told you she gets a little
Mr.
feisty.
Debo.
Yes, ma'am.
See, if you hadn't been quiet at the time that you was quiet, I wouldn't have been calling in, talking to my guy. I got to get my fix in with Ryla every morning. So
That's
don't
what y'all
be
call it, a fix?
no hater.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't hating,
we
sweetheart. I
got
wasn't
the
hating.
radio love. That's what it is. It's radio love.
Okay.
It's real love because we good friends. But it's the radio love. We got to get the audience what they want, and we want what we want when we want it.
What do y'all
So
want?
Got to
we
get the
get it
people
at that
what they
time.
want.
So let me say
Right.
this to you, Miss Angela. Have you ever thought
Yes, sir.
about joining our chat?
No, not really.
So the folks that watch us on YouTube and Facebook actually communicate, and they say good morning to each other every morning, and they join in the conversation. So that's something you may enjoy, and sometimes it's pretty interesting. some of the comments that they make, and I think you and Jermaine's relationship should move to that.
But
platform.
hey, hold on, man.
To move to that platform.
Move to that platform. This cat over here playing Love
I always
Connection.
just
Man.
feel like I need
Right.
to take a shower.
So
after
why
y'all
we
get
All this dirty talk.
Hope they took a shower.
Dirty talk, man.
But anyway,
Well, Angela, I just want to tell you, pride
Yes.
is toxic in the garden of love. And I'm out of here.
okay. Talk to you later.
All right,
Bye-bye.
That boy smooth.
Thompson, what the hell I just
I don't even know what the hell he said.
I didn't even hear you. I didn't even hear you up.
I said
Pride is toxic in the
garden of love.
Y'all went
Garden of
right
love.
into the garden of love.
Yeah. Pride is toxic in the garden of love.
Hey, let me ask that. Let's do a trivia on that.
Okay.
Okay. When Quincy Jones did
Uh,
the
Secret
garden, who performed? Who were the
Oh.
artists that performed? I was listening, and someone was setting the garden, and then they said Barry White.
I
Yeah,
thought
Barry
Barry
was in
White
there.
was
But
in there.
Barry White wasn't.
He wasn't in there?
All he did was.
Barry was in there.
I'll take good care of you.
So-
Well, yeah.
he's in
yeah,
the song.
so he still had a verse. Yeah.
But who else was?
Michael Jackson? No, that wasn't Michael Jackson, but it was a dude that sounded like Mike. And I always get him
El
confused.
DeBarge.
That was
That's
El
El
DeBarge.
DeBarge?
Yeah.
Who else?
Do what you want me to all night.
James Ingram.
James Ingram was on that
Let's
record?
make music, harmonizing ecstasy.
Sure was.
Yeah, that's James.
Okay, so that's three. How many
Come on.
of them was it like 5 or 6 of them?
Yeah.
Here in the garden.
So we got Barry White, El DeBarge,
El.
James Ingram.
It's some other people in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah,
In the garden. That's a great album.
yeah, man.
Somebody was asking, great albums that, just from top to bottom,
Yeah.
from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I put in Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I'm just who else sang?
I'm trying to think, man.
Because that's just a great album.
Yeah.
That's Back on the Block, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back on
Yeah, yeah. So if you got it, 414-444-5250, 444-5250. I'm trying to, let's see, In the Garden song by Quincy Jones. That's with a C. Quincy with a
That's what is
C.
he?
Let's see.
Oh, I would have never even thought about that.
Okay. Did you pull it up?
Yeah. So we're only missing one.
Who's that?
I'll be sure.
Al Be Sure.
Mm.
Al, one hit Be Sure.
He was on that record?
I
Yeah.
can tell you how I feel by night and
Quincy
day.
Jones, Barry White, Al Be Sure, James Ingram, El DeBarge.
Mm-hmm.
We got all light skinned brothers.
Except Barry.
Joe Barry. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Sometimes when you look at the credits, Saida Garrett actually wrote on that.
Is that
Really?
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Her,
Man, yeah.
Quincy Jones, Rod Temperton, Saida
man,
Garrett,
that
and El
dude.
DeBarge.
Yeah. Rod
Rod
was the dude
Temperton.
that had that. They had that.
The
Mohawk,
ugly
right?
white dude
Yeah.
that wrote some great
Yeah,
songs.
Doc, he was an excellent.
He
writer.
wrote for Heat Wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote for Michael Jackson.
Yeah. He had excellent pen.
Yeah, that guy. Great songwriter.
And
I
he don't
got-
even look like a writer. He don't even look like a
I mean,
songwriter.
man, but he died rich.
Oh, of course.
He died rich because, man, some of his songs
It's still in rotation.
yeah. All right, got another one for you, callers. Because everyone just fell in love, and I hate to use that, everyone just fell in love with Coming to America.
Oh yeah.
Coming to America.
Is that 2?
2.
The numeral 2?
Numero 2. Who was the only person, part of the original cast, who did not die? Because I think Olivia Cole died, right? Played the Queen.
Yeah.
She passed, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if she was alive for the movie,
Yeah.
but did not die. Who was not in the movie? Louis Anderson died. So
Yeah.
so Louis
Oh,
Anderson
you talking about that didn't come back for the
to
second?
come back for the second one. Who was the only one who had a prominent role in the first one who did not come back for Coming to America 2? Coming to
that?
America.
Was that the cat that owned McDowell's?
Oh, John Amos was in it.
He was in it.
When John Amos, he was still alive, right?
Yeah. Because he just
But
passed.
this person didn't die. 414-444-5255. I can start getting some gifts, man. So people call in. They like winning stuff. Who's the only one who did not come back? Starred in the original Coming to America. Did not come.
Oh, Arsenio.
No. He was in it.
He was in too.
Yeah, because James Earl Jones was still wearing them out. Yep.
Hey,
How would Arsenio Hall not come back with him and Eddie Murphy are best friends? Come on, yeah, you know you coming back. All right.
Oh, I know exactly who it is.
All right. Who did not come back? Still living, did not appear in Coming to America.
that's a good question, man.
I had to, because I noticed it, then I had to look it up to find out. But yeah, okay, got a call. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yeah, is it? I think his last name is DeSalle.
That's right. Eric LaSalle played Daryl.
Yep, the Jerry Curl.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Shit.
He does a lot of producing now.
Well, he said that he had a scheduling conflict that didn't permit him. Because I'm trying to think what he was still doing. I don't think it was a scheduling conflict. If everybody else could switch their schedules around, and maybe a day, 2 days, or something like that. Yeah, but it was Eric LaSalle. Yep.
I always say follow the money. They probably didn't want to pay him well.
Right, and that's the other thing, where you get in, because wasn't the issue with Terrence Howard the reason why he didn't do the second Spider-Man was so. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, it was Eric LaSalle, had the curl.
He also played ER.
He did what?
He was a doctor
in ER, right?
ER, yeah.
And I think ER was still. Isn't it still on?
I haven't seen ER in
Not
years.
sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, appreciate you.
Just
Thank you.
let yourself
So I got a question for you guys. Who played the fat lady in Norbit?
Eddie Murphy.
Okay, just checking to see if he was on your stuff.
Just let
Eddie.
yourself
Let's just. And I'm trying to think.
How many characters did he play
Was
in
it-
Norbit?
What was it, 6?
No, he played Norbit.
Played Norbit. He played
Whatever
the
her
wife.
name was.
Yeah. Then he played.
Oh, he played the guy that had the orphanage.
Yeah, that had the
who was supposed to be
orphanage.
Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5.
No, it was 3.
Three.
Oh, it's 3.
Yeah, he played Norbit.
Yep.
He played Mr. Wong and Respucia.
But then he
What
played.
was her name again?
Respucia.
But then he played like himself too.
No.
No,
Just
he wasn't in the movie. He was Norbit though.
He was
It
Norbit.
was Norbit. Okay. Oh, I'm thinking.
Man, you talking about
Nutty
that
Professor.
dude? Yeah, but even at that, that one he played
Yeah, he played to himself too.
several characters in there.
Well, he was regular. Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting back to Coming to America, I said it. The best part of the movie was the credits. Because they had everybody, all those so-called ancillary people. They had the twins, the rapping twins. They had Sexual Chocolate. The actual those dudes at age had Sexual
I
Chocolate.
seen that. Yeah.
And the thing was, and Jermaine, I don't know if you're familiar with how I started Hater Nation,
Yeah.
was because I'm a hater.
Of course.
So I thought we should have a feature because I'm a hater.
Hate,
and
hate,
allow me to hate. And so the first person who was part of Hater Nation, I know for you regular listeners,
the first person that you hated.
the first person I hated on.
Oh, I know that already.
Yeah, so let's do this. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Who was the first object of my hate in Hater Nation? 414-444-5250. And yes, he was in Coming to America. There's the hint. You're listening to, we're going
He was in Coming to America.
Get any calls on that, Jermaine?
Not yet.
to, not yet, 414. Who was, because it turned into be one of those irony things that you have in life.
Yeah.
But
I tell you what, let's go to break.
Let's go to
and
break.
Give folks a chance to think about it. And
Yeah.
then maybe they'll give us
Who
a
was
call.
the first person ever hated in Hater Nation? We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You're inside Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back, and we want to thank everybody for blowing up our phone lines. The answer,
On fire.
Yeah. All 10 of your fans called in.
all 10 of them, my tens of fans out there. The answer to that question was John Legend. John Legend was the first person on Hater Nation. That is
'cause
absolutely correct.
Jermaine, I don't know if you recall the irony of him being asked to interview John Legend during the election.
Oh,
So when I got the call, I called Keith. I'm like, hey, man, are you sitting down? No, I'm fine, man. What's up, man? What's up? So you ain't going to believe this, man. I says, how'd you like to interview the guy you love to hate? What are you talking about, man? I said, John Legend. What is it? Some kind of joke or something, man? I said, no, it's no joke, man. Yeah, we got a request for an interview with John Legend, and we thought it'd be fitting that you do it.
oh wow.
Well, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Wow.
More-
Oh, I do remember that call.
Yeah, but the thing was, he was supposed to light into this guy and tell him how,
How he felt.
yeah, because he did. I think he started out going like, I do a segment called Hater Nation. Well, no, well,
Let's
then
keep it moving.
then he moved on.
Keep it moving. Let me do this. Someone always, and thank you for the correction. It was not Spider-Man. It was Iron Man, Terrence Howard. And then I think Don Cheadle replaced him in the second Iron Man. Yeah. Marvel franchise. Well, I thought we were going to have some more games, but it looks like a lot of series are going to be ended. So,
Yeah, man.
it looks like
It's a lot of 3-1s out there.
a lot of 3-1s out there with key injuries to the ones.
Yeah.
So Golden State, and I know people really believe in this myth about next guy up. No.
Yeah,
No.
man.
No,
The
there's
next guy, I always look at it like sometimes, and they good. They could be a starter maybe in anywhere else on a different team or something like that. But your number twos are number twos for a reason.
dude.
Well, also too, man. When you have these players, man, that's at a superstar level, the next man up can't be like an average bench player.
It can't be Keith.
Yeah.
It can't be 44. They look
Hey,
like 144 player. Who hurt?
He can be, but you can't expect the same outcome
Yeah.
as if your number one is out there.
as long
That's
as
why
I
he's
saw
the
to
number two.
somebody who, if they would have called on, and this really goes back, would be Bob Love. When Bob Love played for the Bucks,
Mhm.
and he wasn't getting any run.
Mm.
He wasn't getting any run to the point that Bob Love hated the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm.
Because he didn't feel like he got the opportunity. Well, next thing we know, he go to Chicago, and was he Butterbean? Wasn't he Butterbean?
I don't even
Yeah,
remember him.
Bob Love though, man, that dude was so smooth. So I just and I say it all the time, man. There's a reason why Giannis is getting paid 58 and Pat Connaughton is getting paid 7.
So let me ask this: how many guys cumulative from Milwaukee have made it to the league?
So there's a few.
A few
So
players.
you got Spreewell. You have
Terry Porter.
Terry Porter,
Mike Wilkes.
Mike Wilkes. You have there's
No,
a couple cats that's in the league now that's from here.
Oh yeah, well you had the two brothers.
Tyler.
The two brothers too.
Johnsons.
No.
Yep. Johnson, Cam Johnson, and
No, not them. Not that. I thought it was the kid that played out at Nicolay, him and his brother. They
No,
came
no,
from
no, I'm talking
lacrosse.
about-
oh yeah, that plays for Atlanta.
who you
Yeah.
talking about?
The small forward, power forward, light skinned cat Johnson,
Devin Harris.
Devin Harris.
No, he didn't come out of Milwaukee though.
Yes, he
He did.
did.
He
Devin
played
Harris
for
went to
Tulsa
Tulsa
East.
East.
Well, who
Tony
came
Smith,
out of
Brother
Tony
Tulsa,
Smith?
Tulsa East. Yeah.
who came out of Racine? I think it was Van
Karan
Exel.
Butler.
That was Nick Van Exel, wasn't
No,
it?
he's from
Van
Kenosha.
Exel came
Kenosha, I know somewhere over that
St.
way.
Joe's.
Yeah,
I'm
Karan
thinking
Butler
about,
came from Racine.
Their mother named Nita. What is their name? It's two brothers, man. I think they came out of Vincent. One of them came out of Vincent.
Oh, the yeah. Oh man. I don't know how much he played. One played at
It's
Purdue.
Landry.
Yeah,
Landry.
Landry's,
Yeah, the
right?
Landry boys.
Yeah, Carl Landry.
Yeah.
But his other brother played in the NBA too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then Diener.
Yep, Travis Diener.
Diener
He
played.
played in the league.
Yeah.
Travis Diener.
Diener came out of Wisconsin.
Kevin
though, didn't he?
Looney.
Kevin Looney. I
Yeah,
forget
Kevin
He's
Looney.
playing now.
Yeah.
Right. Now they say downtown.
Fred Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred Brown. John Johnson.
Spreewell, of course.
John Johnson played. He got a ring at Golden State. Not Golden State. And then
Now was Dick Garrett from here?
no. Mm-mm.
He just ended up staying here.
Yeah, he ended up. It was real interesting. I was watching back in the day. I think Dick Garrett started. Oh man, with the Lakers. He started as a rookie in that championship game. I think it was the series that New York beat LA. But he was starting as a rookie, and then he was traded to the Bucks and stayed here. And he's a local legend. Caller, welcome to the program. Jim Jones from Racine.
Hello?
Good morning.
Yeah, Elijah won Gary Coles. He's from Racine.
Who?
He went to the NBA. Elijah won. No, Jelani. His real name is Gary Coles from Racine.
Okay.
Jelani.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to the NBA.
Okay. Jim Jones is from Racine. He was.
Yeah,
in the
Jim
NBA.
Jones is from Racine too. I know both of them.
I'm trying to think who else from Milwaukee. Oh, back in the day. Down
And you
there.
already did say Smith from Milwaukee.
Who?
All right then.
Yeah, Tony
Yeah,
Smith.
Yes. You already mentioned him.
Yeah.
All right then.
All right, man. That's
Let's
a good
see.
question.
That's not a bad list.
No. Mm-mm.
Let's see. Jordan Poole.
Oh yeah, forgot about
Yeah,
him.
he went to King. I got a list of them right here.
Jordan Poole. Well,
Let's see. We got Reese Beckman.
who?
Reese Beekman.
Okay.
He played in the league. He was drafted 2024.
Okay.
Fred Brown.
Fred
Rodney Buford. He went to he was the
Buford.
ball.
That's right.
He went to
Yeah.
New Jersey.
Yeah. Okay.
Deontay Burton. He went to Oklahoma Thunder. He was the shooting guard. He was the cat from here. He was nice.
Okay.
Nice shooting guard. Dwight Bikes.
Vegas. Yep.
Anthony Carter. We got Patrick Eddy. Michael Foster Jr.
Oh, Pat Eddy. That's
Yeah.
what's my boy? Percy Eddy's brother.
Yeah. You got Deontay Garrett.
Okay.
Jay. Some of these last
Did
names.
Deontay Garrett, Dick Garrett's son?
Let me see. He was born 1988.
Rick Polk's son in the league, ain't he? Nick Polk.
You got Mark Jones.
Caller.
I don't know who Mark Jones is.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Did y'all mention Porter from Milwaukee?
Terry Porter. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. That's your classmate, right?
Yep.
That was a good squad. Him, Ricky Smith, Duke.
Here's a whole list of.
Yeah. Duke's real name. You know it?
Real name, man?
Glenn.
What's his name?
Glenn.
Glenn, and then his brother Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Landry.
Tony
Tony
that's what I was talking
Mitchell.
about.
Oh,
That's what I was talking about. Nita Landry. That's their mama.
right. Diamond Stone.
Yep, Diamond Stone. Yep, Diamond.
Oh, come on, man. That's the Dominion law.
Yeah.
Alondis Williams. Jamil Williams.
I didn't realize we had that many.
Yeah.
Carl
man.
Landry.
Yeah.
Don Coges. Yeah, he was. Devin Harris. Patrick Eddy. Anthony Carter.
Yeah.
Now,
Anthony Carter, he was a
is that
guard.
list encompassing the state of Wisconsin? Because that's
City
what that
of
sounds like
Milwaukee.
now.
No, that's the
Milwaukee.
city of Milwaukee. That's everybody from.
Well, I don't know why
inner
they don't
city.
have John Johnson in here. Okay.
Because I think he had moved here. Whatever.
No,
like
John
he
Johnson.
wasn't born here.
Yeah, it was John Johnson played at Mesmer. And then him and Freddie Carter played.
Oh yeah.
together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, not Freddie Carter. Freddie Brown, but I don't know if they played together.
Is that downtown Freddie Brown?
Downtown Freddie Brown, one of the greatest team ever in terms of high school basketball here was that Lincoln team with Fred Brown, and Shimmy Turrentine. That in my mind, there's been some great teams out there. Look, we got 14 championship banners up at the D, but that team, that Lincoln team back in the 60s, that
Who would you say had maybe and I get what you're saying there, but I guess what I'm asking,
Kirk Nymphius?
North Lincoln alumni, what is the most storied rivals, if you will? Like
In
we
the
know
city?
North Lincoln, that was always a rivalry.
It was North Lincoln, and then
The biggest rivals.
well, I
even,
think if you
like,
talk about
South,
the black community,
yeah, South Tech was a
South
big
Tech
rival.
was big.
Yeah.
I think all those schools, South Tech, South Juneau, South Pulaski,
Yeah,
because South was dominant in football. Oh, Tech.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and Tech.
Tech
Yeah.
was
Now, do you remember Terry Black?
Yeah.
He played for Mesmer,
place for Messman.
and then they had Silas Mills.
Silas
He
Mills.
was a monster.
Now Silas Mills, his mom was here. He was at Kentucky,
Yeah. Well, he had ended up going to a JUCO college,
but he ended up in Kentucky. There was some
I think he got
issues-
kicked out of
Well, no, there was some issues about payments.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think my wife worked with his mom.
Yeah.
But yeah,
was a
Silas is
monster.
good. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's happening?
Remember Clarence Sherrod?
But did he play pro?
Yeah, I think he went to the pros. He didn't last long, but I think
Okay.
he went. Think he went to New York.
Okay.
And Mike Wilkes.
Yeah, and they didn't mention Wilkes on this list, but
I
Mike
got
Wilkes
another
played
one
for
for
like
you.
8 years, didn't he?
Craig
Mhm.
Green.
He's coaching at.
But is it that some of those guys are not per se born and raised here?
Mike Wilkes, he
Oh, no,
was
no,
here.
no. Mike was
No, I'm
born.
saying why they. I'm just trying to figure out why they wouldn't make the list.
Probably somebody forgot him.
I grew up with his dad. He's coaching at OKC right now.
Yeah.
Was it Mike?
He's on
Mike
the
Wilkes.
coaching staff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Matter
Yeah,
of fact,
because I know he hung around for some time.
yeah, his
Right.
his cousins are here though. He got twin cousins here, Marvin and Maurice Weaver. So those are two guys that I know personally that I hang with that are his, his first cousins. So
Mhm.
Mike Wilkes is from here. Craig Green, he from here. He made it to the league. He played for the Bucks. He was a second round
Yeah.
pick, I believe. But he
I know
never
Craig
really-
all his life.
Yeah, man, Craig.
His mom
Craig-
used to live across the street from me.
Craig is the only dude, and he can tell you to this day, he's the only dude that ever dunked on me. Craig Green, and we was playing at the LBC, and he caught an alley hoop over me. And
Okay, Clarence Sherrod. Hold on, Clarence Sherrod. He was drafted by the Bulls, 8th round, 15th pick. And it looks like I don't know if he ever played, but he was drafted. He's a lawyer now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, the most famous shot in the history of WIAA basketball was Lamont Weaver from Beloit Memorial hitting
Right.
that shot to put them up.
And I tell you, man, growing up, North and Lincoln had to have the greatest rivalry.
Well, someone
especially-
just texted me, said Washington Marshall.
man, King and it was King and Washington. that I
That's
used to
King
always
and
go-
North. King
Was
and
it
North.
King and North?
King and North. Yep. Especially football. King and North. Yeah. Matter
Hey,
of fact,
Keith,
that's why we didn't have night football games for a long time. Not just King and North, but I think it was South and Tech.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, it was
like
rivals
These
for real.
rivalries were like
Yeah.
for real. And I saw one I didn't realize was a thing. Shorewood and Whitefish Bay.
Yep.
I mean, I was going like, wow, the Burbs.
Hey, I know this gonna sound funny, but Greenfield and Greendale, man, it was
Oh,
like, yeah, it was it West Allis Hill and it was West Allis Hill and West Allis Central. Like
Hey,
the
Keith.
schools
Hey
going
Kenny,
back
I
and
was going
forth.
to ask you, man, who was our rivals?
Parris, wasn't it?
For me, it was Mesmer because Mesmer was where all the black players were.
Ah,
You know, people I grew up with. So that
Yeah.
was the game I always circle was the Mesmer game. You know,
Turan still at you. Turan still at you when I say him.
I didn't hear you.
I said Turan is still at you when I say him.
Oh man, every time just between him, but you know who just don't I get no air from is Andre Gordon.
Oh, okay.
Every time, and every time it's here, here's what he asked me. He said, when's the last time you talked to Green? Then he tells somebody, oh yeah, we went up in the gym and we spanked them. Well, you only beat us by 1. Okay. Yeah, it was but yeah, man, I would, for me, I didn't have, because I know like last year I was asking some of when on the team what was their biggest rivalries, and they always wanted to beat Marquette, but I never beat Marquette. In anything in the 3 years I was at Dominican, I never beat Marquette. So, but after that, when Greg Dandridge got there, they beat Marquette regularly, man. They was at Marquette for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, I also just want to, if you're going to hate, at least know the guy's name you're going to hate. Who is Jason Brunson? Jalen? Jalen? It's Jalen. You said Brunson yesterday.
Who did I call him, Jason?
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah. I said, if Keith gonna hate, at least know the man's name.
That's how much I hate on him. Can't even get his government name. His dad played at Syracuse, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
He's on the coaching staff, right?
Right. That was the whole thing about how he got to New York, wasn't it? Or that was part of him getting to New York. His dad would get the job.
I don't know, but he'd be balling. You might hate, but
man, you know what? And you got to back up on him, man. You go like, ooh, man. And then, of course, I always been hating on the Cams. Cam Payne and Cam Pritchard. I fell in love with Cam Payne in the bubble when he decided he was gonna fight with the Lakers. He gonna fight the whole team. I like that little dude. He stick his nose in it, man. He gonna fight everybody. Little Cam. What do he weigh? About 107 pounds?
He's from Memphis, man. So
was that right?
He bout it.
Mm-hmm. That dude like a chihuahua, man, but talk about sticking his nose in it. Well, how about that though, man? That you sit up and you say, and I say it, man, at the beginning of every season, injuries. If people don't think injuries impact a series, you're deceiving yourself, man. Injuries, and Boston was already struggling with New York, but they can't lose Jason Tatum.
I'll say this too. We'll see, but they might play better without Jason, man, because they started playing like the Bucks do. They just kept giving him the ball, and instead of moving the ball around.
Why, Kitty?
Hey, wait, hold on. Let me tell you this. Like they said yesterday for Denver, Joker had 44, but that ain't a winning recipe. Okay. And in Boston, when they always score in double figures, that's when they play better, not when somebody gets like 40-something points. He was shooting too much, man.
Hey, Kitty.
Yeah.
If I'm coaching you,
and
we're sitting there going over the game plan, what is the game plan? Get the ball to number 10. We pay number 10.
But I'm telling you, he just one thing too, when y'all watch the game, when they come back, know that the offensive team is really helping them. They're just jacking up shots and missing. And so Walt's telling me, he's like, Green, he had 40-some points. I said, but yeah, he was missing. The ones he missed were crucial because they were coming back then. You need a basket. Go to the basket and score something.
What was the game last year when Giannis and Dame, they put 70-some points or some 80-some points? And they were going like, it's not supposed to be this ratio, whereas other people get paid to play too. But I take it from, look, at the end of the ball game, I'm paying number 10 $58 million. The ball should be in number 10's hands. Hopefully number 10 will make the right, but that's what we pay number 10 for, right?
I'm not, because you know what? Watch and see tonight if they don't play better.
They're still going to lose, but
Boston winning tonight. They winning tonight, man.
They winning tonight?
Yep.
Okay, well, they just prolonging. And that's great for us because that gives us another game. But when you look, they were struggling with Tatum on the floor.
We got a lunch wager on it.
Okay, all right, I'll do that. That's fair. I don't bet.
All right.
I don't bet, but
right.
I just feel so confident in this one that, I think it's good for the NBA if you extend the games.
Right.
But man, it was like the year I thought the Clippers were really good, and who got hurt? Wasn't it Chris Paul and Blake, they both got hurt in the same game.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, it's especially during the playoffs. But let me ask this question, because someone asked me this morning. I was coming in. Do you think that there are more Achilles injuries now, or we're just, because it's happening to star players, we're just more aware of it?
Probably happening a little more now too, and but we are more aware of it also. But man, look at the shoes that these guys wear.
Yeah,
man, I got to tell you, what I see, I don't get it. How back in our day and before, they were trying to like find some protection for your ankles and everything.
Yeah, but those chucks didn't offer much.
Huh?
Those chucks didn't offer much.
But I'm saying, I'm surprised players don't get their ankles taped as much anymore.
Okay.
Because them shoes, man, they wearing them out. They ain't really basketball. They look like track shoes, and you cutting and doing everything else. It amazes me that they don't get hurt more.
But you know what? Jason Kidd, remember, because he had a shoe, and he said that he was one of the players that wanted to fill the floor, and that's why they wanted those, not like they used to call them Barclays, because the Barclays were really built for like impact, like big people. But he was saying that if you're a quick guard, you want to be able to fill the floor, because those first Jordans, man, they didn't have a whole lot of cushion protection, and he ended up breaking his foot in the first Jordans. So I agree with you, but I think they're trying to sell a sneaker too, and they're billboards, man. So it's not just that they're out there and you're wearing a sneaker. It becomes a brand. My wife saw the commercial that Asia Wilson did for her sneakers.
Oh yeah,
it sold out like in a day.
Yeah.
And
That's
she
awesome.
was just, and it was such a great, and it took me back to my childhood. And I'm going, Nike has some of the best advertising agencies in the world.
Yeah.
And the fact that here's someone who doesn't even watch basketball. And it's interesting, some of the other things, like I can't ever remember my wife watching the draft, but because of Shadir Sanders, she watched the draft, right? I mean, at the beginning, which is like, I don't ever remember that. So it's interesting how you pull people in, the nominal fans. But it was something Jermaine was saying, that I think that the wear and tear on these athletes' bodies, but look, in order for the NBA to make its profit margin, they got to do 82 games, right? All that money that's tied in, television, all those things. And so, look, you've been down at Fiserv. If I paid all this money to see Giannis, and Giannis is not playing, and he can't play.
Hey, one thing too to add to that, Keith. Guys, especially like my older brother, he played all the sports. Kids are getting locked into one sport, so you're exerting those same muscles over and over from an early age. For them guys been playing. All they've been playing is locked into basketball all their life. So,
But then the other thing, though, that is not so much the wear and tear, is that you don't see a lot of real good players, and I put that, they're not playing on the playground anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all in the gym. That whole documentary they did on Warning, what was the genius with Warning, I thought, was that it was these playgrounds that you went to. It was the city game, right? Yeah. So it'd be the Natatorium, it'd be Columbia, it'd be Green Bay, it'd be Atkinson. And you go to these different playgrounds, and then they got into the gyms. I don't know, I think you lose a little something when you get in the gym. But again, a lot of people don't even want to play on asphalt or concrete anymore, because they just say the damage that it does to their legs.
Yeah.
Hey, one quick one for you before I go, because I'm walking around here like an old man. Would you do it over again, playing on the playground?
Yeah, I would. No, let me not lie. Let me not lie.
I would, man. It was so much, the memories, the friends you made, and I guess if we had our choice, but I'm saying, if knowing what you know now, would you have played on the playground?
Because it's all I had.
Right.
Because if you get into a gym, that was something. But now, they I don't know. I agree with you. I like the playground. I love the fact that when you got out there, you're right. You're out in the weather, and it is, and then if you get a crowd, I worked at Our Avenue.
Right.
And so, man, those games, man, they would attract people just to come to see them play outdoors. And then when you get like an Artie Green to come up and play, or you
Right.
get an Oliver Lee, or you get a local legend who Ernie Montgomery, they were guys who come up and I watch them play. I go, wow, this is incredible. And it was free. But the gym, because I'm going to tell you, man, this AAU, dude, it costs a lot of money. Costs a lot of money for the players.
Hey, but
families.
we had all the other stuff too. Gross.
Yeah.
Do what you're gonna do to get out of there and try to get home.
And just think, man, I worked there. So, oh yeah, man, I worked there, man. I don't know, but you talk about timing is everything.
Right.
Wow. Good dude though. I mean, despite everything, if you knew him, that was your guy. Now, if he had a problem with you, you had a problem.
Right. All right, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
No, I mean, I the playground. Let me throw this out here. This is kind of Throwback Wednesday, right? The dudes that I used to get frustrated with was the dudes who brought their girls.
Yeah, you'd have been frustrated with me.
You brought your girl
every time. I mean, because I always had.
We're gonna have a problem with that.
I always had some fun on man, and having her in the crowd, it just made me hoop better, man.
But it also made you hoop better.
Yeah,
which means you forgot there was 4 other dudes out there.
It was about me, baby. Look at me.
I hate when dudes used to bring their girls. I'm like, oh,
he ain't gonna pass the ball.
He ain't passing the ball.
Pass the ball, Kobe.
Getting ready to go greedy.
Yeah, man.
No, that's true because when we was playing up at Lincoln Park, Lincoln Park, you knew it when the cars pulled up and the guys got out dribbling and they had that piece with the tennis skirt on. Walking next to him is like,
why, man?
This cat ain't. Don't pick him because he ain't gonna pass you the ball.
And and this is something Kenny did. The one thing was it was this male space.
Yeah.
It was this male space, and now there's some sisters who used to come up and ball with us.
Yeah.
Like there was some sisters out there, they could play, and I would watch them, but. Man, you don't bring your girl to a pickup game,
man. Hey, but
you don't even bring them to Muni Rec. I'm gonna be honest, because I saw it at Muni Rec.
See, nowadays, I wouldn't bring them to the grocery store with me because that's a whole different story. But don't you gotta take a break, Keith? It's a couch somewhere out in the lobby. I feel the need for a break.
I'm so pissed off that he done brought her. I'm gonna go up there and sit right next to her and start talking to her.
Boy. Hey, he ain't gonna be able to. He gonna pass you the ball then. He looking at her.
He's so busy looking up in the stand like who had. Because here's my theory. Your man or woman don't get fined until somebody else starts talking to her.
Man. Especially when you cheating on her doing the wrong, boy. And the next man.
You listen to community voice. I don't know how we got there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back. I was at an event last night when the indictments came down for Judge Hannah Dugan, and not surprised. I think that the Trump administration, Trump's DOJ, is going to try to make an example out of her. Who?
Who's that mayor that they arrested?
Oh, he was protesting. Baraka, Newark. Yep, yeah, Mayor Baraka. But I was talking to someone, and they said to me, that. Let me say what I said. I'm not going to say what they said. Let me say what they said. I said, I'm so glad that it was Hannah Dugan and not Lena Taylor, because we would have burned this down. We would have told Milwaukee up and it been Lena. So, better Hannah Dugan. So, but that was the first thing we kind of looked at each other and said, oh, man, thank God it wasn't Lena, because, ooh, that would have, oh, man, that would have caused a riot. Man, but and I think I love what Michelle did. I loved how she kind of couched it. And I think that it was in a moment, because my understanding from the reporting, Judge Dugan was frustrated. And you don't want to make an emotional decision. She made an emotional decision, me on the outside looking in, and now she's going to deal with it. And look, then I don't know if they're going to let her cop a plea. I don't know how. I think that they want to make an example out of her.
Yeah.
But like Michelle said, and it gets back to my whole thing: no victims, just volunteers, right? That we'll take an action, and sometimes either we're not aware or we don't care what the consequences are. But this wasn't one of those acts of God, right? This is something that you consciously made a decision for. Somebody said there's that 7-second rule, that you had that opportunity, take advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to be bringing the full force, the federal government and we got all kind of stuff they ain't gonna focus in on, like DOJ no longer prosecuting cases where there's been disparate impact in terms of racist policies. They're getting everything away. I had to ask the question, and I don't know who I asked it to, if that executive order that Trump did in terms of I think Michelle and I were talking about it, in terms of eliminating DEI and what it is, and just the blatant hypocrisy of all of this. This is what I'm sure drives a whole lot of people nuts, because if first of all, they're trying to make the argument, and this is that whole thing about these 59 white Afrikaners coming from Africa being flown here at the expense of the U.S. government and setting them up with resettlement. And the whole piece is, there is this narrative that whites and white Christians are being persecuted. And so, for example, they just signed this Freedom of Religion Act. It wasn't there to say that Muslims, who are a minority in this country, we want to make sure that their rights as Muslims are protected. There's a city down in Texas, I think, and it looks like it's going to be I don't know if it's a Muslim city, Arab city, and people are already pushing back on it. There have been instances where black farmers who have for years not received what they were eligible for in terms of farm support. And so they go in and they do a set aside to make sure to redress past discrimination as it relates to those farmers. And you had white farmers who sued. This idea that it is so obvious, it is so blatant that this whole white supremacy piece is now openly being expressed and actualized, that you can take people now. If DEI, because the argument right after that plane crash, the argument that the president was making was that because of DEI, we have incompetent, unprepared people in these positions. Well, we hadn't had plane crashes for many, many years. So it could have been DEI. But then you can take someone who is not even minimally qualified to run a large agency like Pete Hasek at Defense. That's close to $1 trillion budget that this guy is over. And I hate to use this term, but he doesn't have a freaking clue, because it really doesn't matter. What Trump likes is that people, they look a certain way, right? So there's no secret that Kristi Noem is over Homeland Security when she has no background in intelligence or Homeland Security. Or you put a Pam Bondi, who's just another blonde, who you can put out there, and boy, here we come with all the stereotypes about the dumb blondes. And then you get, as I like to call her, Baghdad Barbie, the young lady who is the press secretary who will sit up and lie. I thought, what's her name? She's governor of Arkansas now. When she was the press secretary, she just come out and lie. But this young lady will get out and lie, and she does it with a certain boldness. And the fact that in the past it seemed that lies by politicians at a certain level would be disqualifying. It seems like now it is not necessarily disqualifying. That people, I was talking to a young brother last night. Thank you, Sarah Huckabee. She never went to prom. So we should be worried. And I think we were worried running up to the election, which gets us now to Joe Biden and the people around him who hid from the American public that he was declining. Now, look, here's the reality. As we get older, we do decline. Physically, we decline. Intellectually, we decline. It just happens. And there were instances out there where you knew something was up. Okay, you knew something was up. I mean, just in terms of what you see, how he moved. They always said he made gaffes, but now it's becoming more and more obvious. Here's the problem sometimes. I was telling the brother last night, do not minimize power and our attraction to power, okay? Power, as Henry Kissinger said, is the ultimate aphrodisiac. We love and we are attracted to power. And we see it on so many different levels. I was telling them last night that there's these 4 political stratas: the powerful, the power seekers, the political, and the apolitical. And so when you're in certain spaces, you will see people with power, you will see people seeking power. Why would people look the other way when it comes to some of the behavior, when it comes to some of the policies that they have to know is going to hurt people, that's being, put forward by Trump? Power. I put it on a local level. You see it in your local organizations, where I was talking to a sister last night, and she was doing a whole research on this idea with managers, and as they get older, the impact they have on the organization and the operations. And I was pointing out to her, just based on my little lived experience, which is anecdotal, that for some people, you don't know what the climb of the mountain, up the mountain with them was like. So now they're at the top of the mountain, they don't want to get off that mountain, right? They like to have the power. But here's the problem sometimes. Now, because you're so concerned about making sure you stay in your position, the whole organization begins to suffer. There's something out there in business called the Peter Principle. Peter Principle is based on this book where it talks about how you will basically promote a person to their highest level of incompetency and you leave them there, right? So what does that mean? It's usually your middle managers. Yeah, this book, wow, done in 1969. I realized that book was that old. Yeah. And just a synopsis of the Peter Principle, which was written by Lawrence Peters and Raymond Hull in 1969. And it talks about to express how competent workers get promoted to a point where they're no longer good at their jobs. For example, this can happen when people who have been followers for all their careers are suddenly expected to be leaders. Here are the ways that they look at the principles. So basically saying that you can hire, you have people there. I don't know how you get to groupthink, and groupthink is what's best for the organization. But a lot of us feel like what's best for the organization is us. And if we ain't there, the organization is not going to function. I think one of the things I used to have a lot of real heated discussions about community-based organizations. And I said, I place a premium on competency because the community benefits from people doing it right. We go, Jermaine need a job. So then I put Jermaine in a position where Jermaine should not be in that position, but I wanted Jermaine to have a job. I think sometimes also they call it in human resources, there's this whole thing about a blind spot and how when we interview people, we have these blind spots. If the person looks like I want them to look, if the person is a member of my frat or my sorority, if the member is a member of my church, if you remember we go to the same high school, we went to the same college. Now, in some ways, that's good. But in some ways, you could disqualify the best candidate for the job because of some subjective measures that you put into place because it's your guy. Sometimes you get in trouble hiring your guy. I'm just saying, because your guy ain't got no business having the keys to this car. And so that becomes our issue in the community, that we understand people need work. And I do believe that people should have jobs, but I do believe that you should be suited and prepared to do the job that you do. I do a lot of observing. People might not think I do, but I watch. I watch leadership style, right? And someone was saying that you have people who there was a workshop that I did as part of the management training program we had in our division. And one of the things we talked about was we had this whole thing about super workers and how a super worker becomes a supervisor. Super workers don't always become good supervisors. Superstar ball players don't always become good coaches. Part of the problem when you're a superstar ball player is you are able to do things. You have a certain attitude, a certain work ethic that got you to a certain point of accomplishment. You believe that the people should have that, and a lot of times they don't. And so now you have people there, and so you promote people to their highest level of incompetency. We're not even talking about then when people coming in doing nefarious things, stealing. We're just talking about people there who just don't have a clue to how do I lead people. One of the things I had in terms of one of my leadership mantras was that good leaders get people to do the things that they don't want to do. That's a good leader, right? Because trust me, I've sat through hundreds and hundreds of interviews, and people will sit in the interview, and we were in social services, we're in human services, and people would say, so Mr. Rideout, why do you want this position? Mr. Rideout say, because I love people. Uh-huh.
All righty.
Yeah.
That's it.
For some of us, that was a disqualifier.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to learn how much you love people, especially when you're dealing with people in very tough situations. But yeah, I think my lived experience now has said that everybody in the position shouldn't be in the position. That's a hard one for us to swallow. And then once people get set in those positions, Sometimes that becomes the issue in churches. I don't hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, but people been in these positions for 20 and 30 years.
And they don't want to let it go.
Right. And so part of that is how open are you to new and different ideas and different approaches. Part of, they talk about innovation in the company. And what kills, I won't say companies, I'm going to say this in government. Because in government, which has been my lived experience, people want to justify their existence. So I'm not going to bring you in an idea that's going to eliminate my job.
Right.
I'm going to be resistant. Right. And even I found out that you can get so, like, for example, I was the training manager before I retired. Then I got the front door, but I was the training manager. We were making a transition from in-classroom, in-person training to online training, right? And digital training. And old school folks, they need to be in the classroom. You got to remember, this is a new generation. Just like we were new in how we did things and the technology that was part of our educational development. It's like, I'm one of the few people in the world that say what's the point of cursive writing? Now, for many of us, the reason why we think we like cursive writing had everything to do with one's intellectual development. It did not. It had everything to do with your dexterity, your ability to be able to control that pencil. It didn't make you smart because you did cursive. Kids are not learning any better, any differently because we had cursive writing. For many of us, especially boys, we hated cursive writing. Now there was some people out there that have beautiful hand. I mean, when you just look at how they write, you go, oh, but that's not an indicator of what I know. It's just how I make it. So, and we have people, and they're doing legislation now saying that we want to bring cursive writing back. No, we need to do more funding, put more money into schools. That's a dodge in my mind. And I know, again, I'm not trained in pedagogy, which is teaching children. But I'm just making the argument that, come on, man, cursive writing, that we don't even use it. And now we have something called auto pen.
Right, yeah.
And so auto pen, go in and you can automatically sign, because that was the big issue. I know my wife was when she was with a healthcare industry, and they were going to electronic records.
Yeah.
And the whole idea now that your medical records would be, because we were so used to the file. My mother worked in medical records at the county hospital. I remember when they introduced the Electriever. Anybody know what Electriever is? Electriever is those moving file cabinets where you could go in. Oh, my mama pushed back on that. Oh, shit, they were so used to cabinets.
Yeah.
But once they got the Electriever, let the Electriever not work.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, because with adults, I learned this in adult learning, adults will say no before they say yes.
Yeah. And they will say no, not even knowing
what it is,
no. Or how to use it or how to work it. It's just, they just stuck in the, comfortable zone.
Yeah. I mean, look, think about it. Let's just look at our phones.
Yeah.
How many of y'all had those princess phones with that cord that would be like 200 feet?
Yeah.
Because you walking through the house.
Yeah.
With the whole phone.
Yeah.
Attached to a cord.
That you dragging it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then once we started getting the
cordless,
the cordless phones, call waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, so we push back on technology until we see the benefit of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to be a lifelong learner. Like you go in and you learn like, oh man, I didn't, whoa. Like here's one, Chat app.
Chat app. Oh, yeah. I don't use that.
Oh, you should, man.
Really?
Dude.
Yeah, I don't use that.
Look, I know, and there's nobody who loved doing research in the stacks more than Keith Parris.
Yeah.
I'd love to go research, pull up whatever the periodicals.
Yeah.
I don't have to do all that now.
It's all right there.
Oh, it's right here, man. So our pushing back on modernity, our pushing back on new ideas. Well, here's what's going to happen. you can. I ain't gonna do it.
And be
You're
left.
gonna be left behind.
Yeah.
Gonna be left behind. Some
Be
of you
left.
folks, boy. We were just talking about back in the church I grew up. Folks didn't want drums.
Right. Oh,
Lord, we didn't want no drums.
Man.
We didn't want no drums.
man.
Oh, y'all being like those sanctified folks. We want no drums.
I remember when I first came and played at a Baptist church, and I'm looking, and they just had the piano. They had the piano on one side of the room, and had the organ on the other side of the room. And I'm looking, I'm like, "Where's the drums?" And they was like, "Well, yeah, we don't do all that bippity bop stuff here." I said, "Whoa."
Because some people come to sleep.
And that's exactly what I was doing. I mean,
They
slumbering.
come to catch up on their
I
sleep.
said,
You know, I mean, oh man. I just and that doesn't mean that you're giving up values because you utilize technology.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting up here, I'll just put it on church, and you trying to grow your church, you know, you can't do the 50s in the 21st century.
Man, Doc, listen, I tell people this all the time. The first thing people hear when they walk past your church, your building, whatever, is the music. And if the music is not popping, they're going to keep going. But if that music is sounding good, they're going to step in and see what's going on.
T.D. Jakes is one of the greatest preachers ever.
Yeah.
Does T.D. Jakes have a strong music?
What?
He one of the greatest preachers ever.
But he knows that music draws.
Ain't nobody paying to see you, Otis.
Nobody.
Call, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, brother.
What's happening?
Hey, what you're talking about, I'll give you one step further. I got two white cats that I know of, and their daughters have mixed babies, and right away they didn't want nothing to do with it. But now they both of them, they best friends with them little brother. All right, brother, peace.
Yeah,
that's an interesting piece.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many of you brothers your mama told you don't bring no white girl to my house.
Oh yeah, that was never told me.
But I bet you can bring that curly haired little baby to the house.
Yeah, because that baby innocent.
That baby,
that baby innocent.
That baby got curly hair. You take that little baby everywhere. But some of the most racist white parents, when it came to their grandkids, I mean, that which is an incredible, and I've seen it. These people will tell you, But I'm
gonna be honest with you, Keith. If that was my situation and I knew that the parents was racist, I don't think I would allow my child at a young age to go over there. I mean, me and the child's mother would fall it out.
Might have an impact then on how they think, because a lot of the racism that people experience, they have not had a lot of interaction with black folks.
I get it, but I wouldn't want them to harm my
they
baby.
Don't harm that baby. That's their flesh and blood. They clear on that.
But if you just treating him or her any kind of way, I
was always amazed when I heard, and you would go like, "Oh man, my mom and dad, they woo." But when I brought little Keith, because they now there's some they ain't gonna never accept it.
Yeah.
But there's others, because then maybe what they're brought to face is, first of all, the irrationality of your racism. What is it based in? And I can tell you there are white folks who have never seen black folks in person would use nigger to refer to black folks. They ain't never had an interaction. You go out to some of these spaces out of Wisconsin, they ain't seen a black person in person.
Yeah.
But they still harbor, because the society, the system is built on that. That's what makes America. I hate to put it this way, but that's part of what makes America what America is.
Man, I have a friend. She's from Britain. I actually flew her over here 2 years ago for my show that I had. But she's a white girl, and she had kids by a black guy here in the States that was in the Army. And she told me something that it just hit me so hard. She was like, my mother don't even like my kids. Like, they don't even talk to my kids.
Yeah.
And and I think her kids is like 4 or 5 or something like
Right.
that. But she was just like, they won't, play with them. They won't talk to them. They ignore them because I had a baby by a black guy.
I had to do a funeral. She was my coworker, and she was a white woman. She was married to a white guy. I think they had 2 kids, 3 kids, 3 daughters. They broke up. She ended up having a relationship and marrying a black man. Now, this was in the late 50s, early 60s. Her parents took them to court to get custody of the children because they didn't want those 3 white girls having to grow up in a black community with a black stepfather. Go to the funeral. There's 2 sets. Right?
Oh yeah.
But to hear them talk about how they came together as sibs, in spite of the grandparents at that point. So, I mean, America, and that's the thing, we because of visuals, they were doing a skit on Saturday Night Live where Trump is signing all these executive actions, and one of the executive actions he signed was one outlawing biracial couples in commercials, and he started talking about biracial couples. We get the impression that in America, and I say it all the time, let me defend the brothers who are athletes. They said, "Oh man, as soon as they become successful, they get a white girl." Most brothers are hooked up with black women. Most brothers. Now there's some who didn't. Michael Jordan started off with a black woman.
Yeah.
OJ started off
OJ.
with a black woman. Fred Douglass. His second wife was white, right?
I can believe it.
No, she was. She was. And then think about this. He doing that in the 1800s in Washington, D.C. in the South.
Wow.
You're listening to Community Voice. Take a break. We'll be right back.
inside Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
I saw we had a, and I'm gonna call it, you can get it. I saw that we had the promo for Juneteenth. You know, the irony is I got to work on Juneteenth Day. Wasn't that the day we's free?
We supposed to be.
We supposed to be free that day?
You working both of your jobs that day?
Yeah, man. I was working.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for that one.
I need to get with the union to talk about.
Yeah, me and you both.
Are you?
No, 'cause you got a whole different thing.
you going down to the lakefront for that part of it as well, as far as what they're doing down there on Juneteenth? I heard they got some pretty decent acts down there.
Yeah, I really want to see Eric Benet.
Yeah, you know, my boys is playing for him. After
And they got a couple of rappers coming in.
Yeah.
They ain't did rappers down there in a minute. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Parris.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call. Assalamu alaikum to all you brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listening. This is kind of maybe it may not be completely off topic, but I was just thinking because I see this like regularly, and when I was coming up, there used to be a commercial that they call you yuck mouth because you don't brush and stuff like that. And I see a lot of yuck mouths like all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, when did it become cool to not take care of your teeth?
Yeah.
The good Lord gives us two sets of teeth. When we are little babies and we grow and they come in, then they fall out, then we get our grown people teeth.
Yeah.
And yet I see a lot of, they're young folks. These ain't even old people. I'm like, are you on drugs or something like that? Because I look when I'm gonna be 100% honest. When I look into a person's face, my eyes go right to your mouth.
Yep.
Because
straight to
Because though when people are putting those grills in, which I would have to think.
Yeah, but that means your teeth are rotting under there, they're dying, and your breath stink. So
I think the other piece of it is too. I had never heard this before, but I know it happens in our community too. In poor white communities, they have something called Mountain Dew teeth.
Mountain Dew teeth.
And what that is all the sugar, right? That they do all this sugar and it's rotting their teeth.
Yeah, well,
but here, can I say this? And I'll go, Mountain Dew, meth, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, meth is another one.
Yeah.
Lack of hygienical practices. Yeah. And I want our brothers to understand this, because when I was in school as a youngster, in the late 80s and then coming into the 90s, them girls didn't play about that.
Real talk, man. They would talk about you.
You couldn't, you would get a bad reputation walking around with, it looked like somebody ejaculated on your teeth, and you walking around like there's nothing there. You coming up in people's faces, talking to them, and your teeth is a part of your presentation.
Yeah.
So, and I'll go with this. If I see you, maybe you didn't do it today or whatnot. Sometimes we get overwhelmed by time. But if I see you more than once and you look like there's some stuff on your teeth, I'm gonna think you a filthy individual, because the mouth is the nastiest part on a human being's body. Thank you.
Yeah, there is some yuck mouths.
Can I give some advice?
Yeah.
Just some friendly advice.
Yeah.
Don't make sex tapes.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're gonna come back.
Oh, it's whatever you put out there.
No, because I was just reading they said one of the takeaways from the trial, Cassandra Ventura, was in trial testimony. Cassie says Sean Combs used sex tapes as blackmail.
Boy. Listen here. Thank the Lord that. Well, back to the yuck mouth. Brush your tongue, man. Do the cow tongue thing. Pull your tongue
and
out.
I don't know how many of you all had to go down to Marquette's dental school.
I've heard about it. Oh yeah, like so when they need to get their
in
teeth
school,
pulled,
we used to go down to Marquette and we get cleaning.
Yeah,
and we get like certain dental.
Wait, didn't they do that at MATC too?
No, it's Marquette.
It was Marquette. Yeah, it was Saturday morning.
Yep, you go down on there because they put that fluoride in. You be tasting that fluoride for 2-3 days.
It was a crunchy and gritty. Yeah, but you know what? That was really helping the community, and it was it was the young folks that was in that field when they was practicing and learning, and so that was learning while you work.
Yeah, I think it was free. They used to do a couple of things. I don't know if they still do it. I'm sure they still do vision tests and MPS, and I'm sure we used to also do. They would do hearing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they do now in terms of pathology. I tell folks speech pathology. I was in speech pathology for 3 years. I had a problem with THs. I didn't mind going, man, because we got candy. So I didn't mind going.
Man, listen, I can't believe I'm even working in talk radio, because it was a period of time that I couldn't even get one word out. I'd be stuck for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the irony in my life. I am a shy person.
Yeah.
But you put me in front of a mic and there's a totally different persona.
Yeah.
And then when I get away from the mic, then it's like this, almost like this different dude.
I swear, man, people used to ask me, they was like, bro, how is it that you can sing and not stutter? But right when you're done singing, it's like you can't get words out. I'm like,
well, you know what? That was what's his name? Mel Tillis.
Yeah.
That was Andre Crouch.
But that's how I used to get through in school. Like, I get to a word that I knew that I was about to fumble over, and I would just hum like a melody. So, like, I used to have hard times with like James.
Didn't James Earl Jones had a bad stutter where he didn't talk for 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and it's interesting how you can take a deficit and then turn it into a benefit. That you can, I couldn't do this, but in order to overcome it, I was able to do this. And so it's almost, making lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah.
But I see it like, they would kid me. They still do. Sometimes I come in and I look real solemn and, like, and they're going, oh, what's up with him? And as soon as the light come on, you do what you do.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the light shuts off, you go back into
who you are.
Into who you are.
So how did you overcome?
Thank you for that question, Jermaine.
Yeah.
No, I think part of it is the confidence in the material, that I know the material in most instances, and the confidence I have in my skills. Now that could be a problem, because then you could be overconfident.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, man, if I was telling Rhonda one day, I went downstairs and preached that morning, went downstairs, built a fire, and sat in front of that fire for 2 hours dissecting a 30-minute message.
Really?
2 hours. I am hard on me. I can tell you the mistakes that I make. That's why we do cleanup on aisle 6. I am hard on me.
Yeah, man, now that you say that, I believe that I'm the same way, because with music and songs and things like that, like, say, like a performance, I do a show, and if the show didn't go off how I thought it should go off, in my head, man, I'm
you should
like,
never be satisfied.
Yeah.
You should never feel like that you've arrived.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone last night. She said, I'm almost there. That almost could be a long time. But and I think that's the other thing, is that it makes you a little bit more focused. Because I also operate from the principle that when fatigue sets in, habit takes over.
Yeah.
That's why you develop good habits.
Yeah.
So when you get tired, the good habits kick in and not the bad habits. How do I resolve a situation? How do I think? We used to have a group called Preparation for the Last 2 Minutes. A lot of games are won in the last 2 minutes. Who's able to breathe? Who's able to think? Who's able to minimize mistakes?
Yeah.
All those things, and how we work under pressure. And to be able to handle pressure, that's why you have, like, I think it's called a crucible in the Marine Corps. Like, you're going to go through and you're going to be physically challenged. We're going to overwhelm you physically.
Yeah.
You get through that, because that's what war is.
Man, I'm going to tell you what this coach told me, and it changed my mindset towards really life. But it was playing basketball, and he said, "It don't count until you're tired. That's when it counts because now you have to reach down within you and find that will."
Look at the shots. We could tell you in the ball game. You know, where at the beginning of the ball game they were strong.
Yeah,
they barely hitting the rim.
Yeah,
you're tired.
Yeah,
you know, and the more pressure, the more stress, the more your body is working.
Yeah,
you know, so you're doing a whole lot, man. So anyway, let me thank Debo. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Jermaine, thank you. Appreciate you. Callers, we appreciate you. Good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always,
Keith, before you leave, is the creek ever gonna rise?
tell him, Craig. Did we come up here and it was like BB?
Yeah, Doc.
Never learn to swim. Can't get the rhythm of the funk.
You right. The creek did rise.
It did rise. Why should I hold my breath? Feeling that I might choke. Good Lord, what a creek to rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.
Oh Lord,